who sent your bluebells yesterday. Elizabeth and I absolutely loved seeing them. And if you've done it but you've not sent it, make sure you do. So it's Friday, end of the week, end of our first week of homeschooling for the summer term. And I have asked people on different social media, what do you want? And do you know what? Something that's come up again and again and again was Mario. So I got my pencils out this week and I've sat down and designed this special Mario lesson, and it's just for you. So I really hope you enjoy it. So really excited about this. We've just got these in to the Little Art School shop, so I'm testing them out. It looks like an ordinary spiral bound sketchbook, but actually it's watercolor paper. It's really lovely watercolor paper, and you can do it on both sides. I'm going to demonstrate that because I've just done the junior one here on that side of Toad. I'm just going to turn the book around and I'll be able to use both sides. So I'm going to do Mario here on this side. So it'll work really well for all watercolor papers there. So I think everyone's going to like them. I'm thrilled, very excited. So we're going to start this by thinking about where exactly halfway down the page is. And I want you to put a light line there, halfway down. Then come in again, think of where halfway is, about there, and come in just to the left of it. And we're going to start with a curve. I want a curve there, and then a curve there. This is actually going to form his little tummy. So we've got a curve there and a curve there. From that line, just taking it across, you may be thinking this does not look like Mario at the start of Mario, but trust me, stick with me, all right? I'm going to go in across there, and I want you to take it up and to there. So in a minute or two, we'll pause it where you can just put these shapes in. But if you just watch what I'm doing, so whilst you're doing it, you can think to yourself, right, she said, line halfway across, curve up, across, and then get that line in. This is the key shape. This is our really important shape here. So we've got that shape and another curve down, which is pretty much symmetrical to that, opposite to that. There we go, and we'll join those with a line. So that's the start of this tummy. Now here, I want a line. It's not straight, it's just off on a little angle there. These are going to form his legs. And another one coming down. And here, same really, up, off on a little angle, and that one coming down. So this is the start. These are the start shapes. Up here, I want you to put another shape in there. And then here, we're going to go with an angle. Don't worry if you feel like, slow down, Joanne, this is so fast. You can pause it. Really, really take your time. Now, coming in from here, I want you to, let's take it up slightly there. And what I want is just to take it up on a little angle and then a triangle down. When you're drawing things that are quite hard and it feels really intimidating, like, you know, noses, eyes, face, you just need to think to yourself, it's a triangle sitting next to a circle, next to a square. And that's what I'm showing you here. All these shapes will become something, but at the moment they're just shapes. We've got a line at an angle there, and I want to join that at a diagonal there. So coming down, take this line, continue to take it right up, and then we'll join that coming down into a triangle. So the idea behind this drawing is to really make you think about drawings as shapes, a series of shapes joined together. So I want you to pause that now. Think carefully about where to start it on your page and start building those shapes. This is the key. So if this takes you 10 or 15 minutes, take the time. Just take the time at this stage to get it right. So if you pause it now. So we've got these shapes, and now we're going to take the shape and we're going to start to adapt it. So when you get to the pause bit after I've done the demonstration, all of these original shapes, the ones that we're going to rub out, they're going to be in a red felt tip pen in little dashed lines. So, but I'm going to leave those on for now so you can see. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to come like that. So it was just a little curve in and round here and another small curve in. On that actual triangle, this is going to become, I'm going to turn this into his chin. So we're going to come round here like that and then go underneath. You'll really be able to see this when you pause it on the little guide sheet. It will show you that there. So that's the start of that shape. So if I rub these little lines out here and I rub them out here, we're starting to get a bit of a Mario shape coming now. So that's the start of his head here, round to there. Now on the outside of what was this square here, I'm going to take it up and I'm going to do this ear here. So that is going to be his ear coming round and his cap is going to start there. Let's pop in the nose because it will really start to make sense. If we go about halfway down there and just in slightly, and the nose, it's not a circle, it's more of an oval really, and a lot of parts of it, it's not really that rounded. That's almost a straight and an up and around. We've got this enormous big round nose. So if we come up here now, what we're going to do is turn this triangle into his cap. And we're going to do that by going out, there, and round. And with this one, so the triangles are kind of guide, it'll really show us. When you pause it, you'll see that. Just keep looking at where those red lines are, that's what this is. And it comes right up here, the cap, and out. So if I rub the triangles out there, can you see we're starting to get the shape? There we go. So he's starting to come together now and I can rub that out as well. So that's the start of his head. Now let's pop his arms in here on this bit. So coming down here to just where his nose is there on that side, I just want a small line there and here, a line here coming up because we've got this arm sort of coming out here where he's sort of kind of waving. The hands are really simplified. So on this bit, all I want you to do is to put a sort of cuff there, which will be like the start of the glove, and that shape coming out. So we've got that there. Now here, we're keeping this line here, taking his tummy round, so that just stays completely unchanged. This is going to form part of his trousers, and there we'll just take it up into two lines. And we've got the start of those, and we'll pop his shape that's going to turn into his shoes there. We've got that there, and another one coming out there. He suddenly seems to be appearing. What do you think, Elizabeth? Is he appearing? He's just appearing. So we'll get rid of this because he wears dungarees rather than trousers, and we can get rid of that line as well. And I just want to start, just for the last bit on this stage, is just to pop this arm in round here. So we're going to come round like that, and here we're going to put in this shape. Now initially it's just like that really, and each of the fingers comes up. It's in a glove like that, and then again we've got that sort of cuff. There's a sort of cuff at the edge of the glove, and that's the arm coming in. So that's the second stage. So if you pause it now and remember the red lines, that's the initial shapes, and work from them, really use that. Just think it's just coming in a little bit, it's going out a little bit. And we'll come back in a minute. So I'm going to start up here with his hand and just take it out with this thumb shape there like that and round. And if we just turn the hand so it becomes a little glove like that. So that's the little hand, the pointing hand up here. If we come in here now and start popping his eyes in, we've got them coming up from the nose there like that. And it's just a series of shapes, just exactly like how we started off. You've just got that kind of semicircle and then that shape and a shape around. The other eye is completely different. The eyes don't match. So it's really important to look and see what is there rather than what you feel should be there. That's coming around here like that. It's much bigger, this second eye, which is closer to us. Quite often these cartoony images can be much harder than you at first think they're going to be. And this is a case in point. Here we go, I'm coming around there like that. So we've got his two eyes in, and then if we turn this into the peak of his hat here, and then his eyebrows actually sit in the peak of the hat there. So you've got one and then a second one there up in the peak of the hat, and that comes down. And the hat has here a little bit of hair coming from it just before the ear. You can see that's got that there, and then you've got that hook round. And there is a badge in the hat as well with the iconic M, the Mario M. So don't forget to put that in. So that's the hat, and there. His mustache now, that's the must-have really for Mario, isn't it? If you bring the line out here at that side, and a little line at that side there, and it's just a series of curves. So when you pause and stop at the little at our pause spot, it'll just count the little curves up and round. So you've got the mustache in, and then the mouth. Come on about the middle of the nose. Come to there and do a straight line right underneath. Actually, right underneath the mustache. You've got a straight line. You've got another line underneath. That's his teeth. Take it down in a semicircle and then pop in a shape for his tongue. And we've got another little bit of hair coming around here. So the hard stuff's done now. We really are right at the end now with it. So I want you to take down a line here and there. That's for the edge of the dungarees. We've got another one coming in there, and we've got one there. That's his dungarees coming into his hands. Here coming round, and on his shoes it really is just a simple bit to finish it off. So you've got them having a little heel and sole on that shoe, and it's a little shape there for a heel there and a sole on that shoe, and that is our finished Mario. Do the whole of Mario in watercolor pencils. You can use whatever you've got. Use pencils, use crayons, anything that you have. But I'm gonna paint it using these watercolor pencils today. So let's start with the face, and I'm gonna use this yellow ochre very lightly all over the face. So really lightly I'm going in here. So the heavier you press with these pencils, the darker it's going to be. So if you press really lightly, then it's going to be really nice and light. I'm going to put a tiny bit of red, look, hardly any. Can you see how little I've put in there? Just a little bit, otherwise it'll just turn really pink. And then as soon as I apply my water, you see, I'm getting it changed now. Look, see, as soon as I touch that bit of red, it's turning it to become a sort of pinky colour, and I can apply that all the way around. Keep pulling in those touches of red to get the pinky colour. There we go. So usually when you're mixing this kind of pale skin colour, that's all you need is whatever paint you're using. It's really white, or if it's watercolour based like this, it's water, and a touch of yellow and a touch of red to get that pink. And everybody's skin colour varies so much that there are literally thousands of different ways of painting skin. And that's what we're going to go for Mario. So we'll just leave that for a second because it'll dry quite quickly. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to take the grey and go around his gloves using this grey really quickly. I'm not going to turn that to paint. I'm just going to have it so I've got this nice outline on his gloves. I've used those. I'm going to come down here now. It's all about really choosing where you're going to go on the painting when you're using paints like this. If I immediately went to do the blue or the red next to the skin colour, whilst the skin colour's wet, it will all run into each other. So that's what I'm trying to avoid really. Here, I'm going to round that off slightly there. This is a sort of burnt sienna colour I'm using here. I'm actually going to go back in and use the burnt sienna as well for the edges of his hair. Here we go. turning it to paint. And now if I come up, have a little feel. Yeah, it's feeling quite dry there, so I think I'll be safe here to go in and to put in his cap. I'm going really heavy, you can see that now. I'm going heavy on this because I really want to get this lovely, strong, bright colour. So nothing subtle here, is there? I'm going to go round the edge of the badge and then I'm going to colour the M in a bright red. And I'm going to do exactly the same here. And exactly the same there. And I'll turn this into paint, but what I'll do is I'm going to leave that edge. So if I take the colour like that, can you see? I haven't coloured it particularly neatly, but the paint will come on really neat because I'm going to leave the outs. I'm going to go right to the edge, but I'm going to let the edge be the pencil mark. You can really take your time with this, with these amazing pencils, which are such a great, one of the reasons why they're really good, I think, watercolour pencils is, Elizabeth mentioned this yesterday, is they're not messy. So sometimes as a parent, when you're getting paints out, you can feel like the preparation and the putting away takes actually longer than the activity itself. I do remember that when Elizabeth, who's standing here all grown up and 18, was little, I once spent an hour and a half cleaning up after a 3.5 minute painting session. See, if only I'd known 16 years ago about the joys of watercolour pencils, that's what I would have gone for. Here we go, and we'll turn this bit here. So we're almost done actually on him. The painting itself, I think with this one, the drawing is really it's quite difficult. You've got to really take your time to get the drawing right. But once the drawing's in, painting itself won't take too long. So we've got the red. I'm going to pause it there. I'll come back in a second just once I've let it dry. Right, I'm going to pop a bit of, I'm not going to turn this to paint, I'm just going to pop a bit of yellow ochre on his heels and the soles of his shoes there. And while I've got my yellow ochre handy, Elizabeth's just pointed out to me that I forgot to paint the ear, so I'm going to go in and put a little bit here up in his ear. There, look, I didn't even need to get the red because there's a touch of red in his hat that I could bring down. And then I'm going to put in his hair colour, which I feel should be black to match his moustache, but it's not.
I was thinking that when
I
saw
it. It isn't. I've checked it on several pictures just to be doubly, triply sure. But it is this colour. This kind of browny, it might be a bit darker than that, but I've gone for a sort of burnt sienna. And there's a little bit here as well. And then I'm going to come in and put a touch of blue in the middle bit of his eyes here. Around the iris, and a blue bit there. If you don't really need to turn that to paint, but I will, just because it makes a difference. So we've got that bit turned, and then you need to pop in his little tongue there. Now for this, his facial features, you could use a black watercolour pencil, you could use a black ordinary pencil, you could use a felt tip. I'm going to go with a combination. I'm going to use a black watercolour pencil here for his eyebrows. But I'm actually going to use a fine liner for the moustache. You can see that works quite well. There. If I come in and use this for his eyes, it's really important to keep a little tiny dot for a highlight on these cartoony eyes. So it's really starting to come out there, isn't it? And then if I go around his moustache like that. I'll fast forward this because otherwise it'll take forever. Now also here on his mouth, the top line is the teeth, then we've got the tongue, and then you just want to do that bit there in black. Okay, and we've only got one thing left to do now, which is his dungarees. So I want you to go around the yellow buttons and then do the whole thing in blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sort of light blue on most of it. I'm also going to go in with some little bits of dark blue as well. Here on the bits that I want a bit more shaded, here around his tummy and here under his arms there. And by putting in an extra bit of dark blue, don't worry if you've not got that, it will still work. So here's our final touch really to let's turn that to blue. You see where the darker just darkens it. I'll dry my brush rather than moving the dark, otherwise the dark blue would just be all over all of it. Make sure that red's dry before you do this because it will just turn purple around the edges otherwise. I'm just going to go around those buttons, and then at the end when it's dry I'm going to come in and you'll see it on the finished one, and I'm going to do those buttons in yellow, but I'll have to wait. It's going to take ages for this to dry, so I'm not going to do those now. I'll come back in and do them, but you will see this on the finished one. Now I've had loads of fun with this, but my little warning with it is it is quite hard, and you might get halfway through it and just think, oh, this is really tough, I'm not sure I want to do it. Stick with it, keep looking at the shapes, keep trying to work out if things have gone wrong, go back and just keep sorting them out. It'll take a bit of time, but you'll be really pleased, especially if you're a Mario fan. I'm going to give this to Henry, who's a huge Mario fan. And that is the end of our painting. Hope you enjoyed that. And if you fancy having a go at Toad, have a look at the junior one because we did that one as well. So we hope that you enjoyed your Mario, and keep your suggestions coming because it's really helpful. We've got a lot of lessons to design for the next few weeks. So your suggestions really help me and Elizabeth as we sit there chewing our pencil thinking, what would everybody enjoy? So make sure you send us suggestions in the comments. We've got lessons lined up for you all next week. So we will see you anytime after 11 on Monday. Have a great weekend.